So from this point on, it's your ball game.
Oh, well, thank you. And a good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the official re-emergence of the Double Edge Let's Talk, where I take my double-edged sword and I slice and dice a subject, and we take a look at the good and bad halves. And this time I have guest star Servanos with me, and we just got done talking about a nice little subject on your channel, didn't we?
Oh, that was wonderful. That was actually quite possibly one of the best conversations I've had in my life.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a good little boost to have. Going in knowing you're a great conversationalist. I hope you can keep up with my topic, because, well, this is something I like talking about in video games a lot, in my Let's Plays and whatnot. I haven't talked about it yet. I want to talk about the subject of romance in video games, and we're not strictly staying with dating sims for that matter, because quite honestly, I don't think I've ever even really played one.
No Honey Pop? Dang it!
Nope, no Honey Pop. Although a Hatful Boyfriend, I guess, could count. I totally played that.
Oh,
anyway,
found a footprint.
Anyway, let's go and start with you. What is your stance on romance in video games? Do you have any qualms with it? Do you think we need more of it? Do you think it's fine where it is?
I guess it kind of depends, to be honest. It kind of depends on why it's there. So if you're doing it just for the sake of, look, we got a romance.
Yeah, we shoehorned it in.
It's just like those action movies where randomly the hero finds this wayward woman and there are babies. It's like, wait, what? Why did you put that? He was happy on his rocket ship. He was fine. He wasn't looking for anyone. Why did you bring her along? Or vice versa. She was happy. She was fine. She was normal. And now suddenly you've ruined it. So I think it kind of depends on the story, which,
yeah, we
fantastic. We just happen
in
to be
length
talking
about. But, okay, well, let's go and start with
the story. It has to fit in the story.
Let's go and start with the negative then, since that seems to be where this is going. What would you say is not the most prime bad example, but a bad example of romance done wrong in a video game?
Romance done wrong?
If you can think of any.
You see, now you got me thinking. I gotta think hard on this one.
You want to hear maybe what I...
Why don't you lead off on that one? I'll just take me a moment to think about that.
Okay, well, first off, and this mostly goes to Bioware games, if you ask me. Not all romances in Bioware games are bad. They can be hit or miss. But one thing I don't like in particular is when you're basically dating a character whose sole purpose seems to be based off an already existing actor or actress. There's just something I find a little weird about that, and it's like you're not dating the character, you're dating the actress. Like,
you tell, like, what example?
Okay, like, you ever played Mass Effect?
Yeah.
You ever played Mass Effect 2?
Oh, I've played the entire series.
Okay, then. So, you remember Miranda Lawson? She, if you haven't ever known, okay, so, you ever watched the show Dexter?
No,
hold on, not Dexter. Chuck. You ever watch Chuck?
No.
Okay, well, Chuck, the actress that plays Miranda is also in that. I do not know how to pronounce her name. It's, forgive me, actress, if you ever happen to watch this video. And, it looks just like her. And it made me start thinking, once I found this out, I was like, oh, they basically wanted to date a brunette version of her. Oh.
Well, that's normal in games nowadays with high graphic quality. That's normal.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, if you want to get Kevin Spacey to play a bad guy in a Call of Duty game, that's one thing. But if it's like, you want to, ramp up the Ion engine, if you know what I mean, with said actress, I don't know. I'm not going to judge anybody for doing that, but that's where I personally wouldn't. That's territory I'm not willing to go to. And in Mass Effect 3, they had another actress, I can't even remember her name, and she was another dateable character, and I just found it kind of like...
Jack?
No. Jack was a great character, if you ask me. And if you dated her, it was like it was one of those hidden depths moment where it was one of those like broken faucets you want to fix, and it's like, aw, that was a good example of a good romance. But I'm trying to remember her name. I can't remember. It's one of those ones where the actor I think it was a case of the actress put herself in just so she could be a dateable character. Like she made a case of it. I don't remember who it was. It was like the news reporter chick or something like that. That was on your ship in the third game.
Oh, yes. She was. Yes, I agree. She did not make sense as a character.
Yeah.
And there was really no need for her.
Yeah. Now
Mass Effect 3 is a whole another ballgame, and we could have a whole talk about the Mass Effect series and how it could have been amazing, but it missed the mark on some levels and hit on others.
Back on that Ace Combat thing, where that's a good example of a game with lore and great writing. I thought Mass Effect 3 was a good example of great built-up lore and lazy writing, especially in some of the romance department. But they kind of made up for it with a lot of the fan servicey things you got to do in the Citadel DLC. You ever had your hands on that?
I actually did not feel the need to get it because of how the original conclusion left me such a bad taste in my mouth.
I did go back and I played it, and basically what it is, it's a bunch of goofing around with every single one of your squad mates throughout the entire history of the game. Spoiler alert, minus any who may have died, of course. And it was like, you got to do extra things with who you considered your best friend in the game. You got to have like a real honest-to-goodness date with your love interest. And I thought that was a good... And interestingly enough, they left out the character I was talking about, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Because, yeah. And another example... another thing. When your romance doesn't matter. When you think when you personally think it matters and then it ends up not. Back on Mass Effect 2, you can date Jacob. Jacob Taylor, I think his name was.
Yes.
And it turns out, no matter what you do, he cheats on you in the third game.
Yeah. He actually has his own love story.
It's... if you didn't date him, that's no problem. If you did date him, that's a big problem. And that wasn't fair to anyone who genuinely liked him, if you ask me. I'm going to move away from Mass Effect for a second before I go on a rant about that, because you're right, I still have some bitter feelings over that ending after all these years.
I know, right?
And I'm not even going to talk about the new game, because I want to see some more on the new game first.
That's a whole different conversation altogether on what could be a good idea, what could just be trying to recreate the wheel with the same material.
Do you think romance... in a video game, do you think it's better when it's out of your control or when you have a say in the matter? Especially if it's your player character getting involved.
I think a little bit of both. I think you need to have a little bit of control, just like even in a fully dedicated, this is the story, you live it kind of situation. A quick time reaction story, so to speak. Even in that scenario, you still need to have some kind of freedom to implement...
I saw you making it. I was like, nope.
Yep, I saw you doing it too. Some kind of change into the character themselves. So, something obviously, force the story because that's your main point. But at the same time, give a little freedom on how you want to pursue it. Do you want to have the love interest in the middle of the war? Mass Effect did a good job at least giving you the option to either have or not have a love interest in the middle of a life-threatening war.
Yeah. They got some great romances in the game, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm, I would say it's, in my opinion, it would probably be best to give the romance as part of the story, but give you a little bit of control on how you execute it.
I thought they personally handled love triangles a little weird. Like, they could have handled it more realistically. Like, if you're caught cheating, the other girl doesn't just seem genuinely mad enough. And the original girl's just like, oh, you were cheating on me? Oh, okay. It was like, she doesn't care. See, that's what I kind of liked, and I'm going to use a weird example here. Final Fantasy VII, let's be honest, there was a bit of a love triangle going on in that game, like between Cloud and Aerith and Tifa, if I remember correctly. And that was one of those ones where it was like, you think you hate it, and then you kind of oddly enjoy it, especially when, in conclusion, Cloud, did he ever end up with Tifa, or was he just kind of like the solitary man in the end?
I do not remember.
Yeah. But, whether he was a good character or not. Okay, I'm going to do it too. Whether he was a good character or not is a whole other story. See, that's another thing. If you're going to have a romance, have it with a great character. And one you think not deserves a romance, but would it make him a better character? Or a more interesting character to watch, at least.
Definitely interesting. I mean, it doesn't have to be a good character. It doesn't have to be a best character. Because obviously, there are many situations where you look at a real-life romance and go, oh gosh, are you serious now? Yeah. Why? What crawled into your brain and laid an egg that actually thought this was a good idea?
Well, most of the romances are to lead to the Bomb Chickawawa scene, which, let's not kid ourselves, most of the demographic that video games are aimed for is what they want to go for. Like,
Right.
ironically, and I'm actually saying this with as much maturity as I could possibly say it, the scene in Wolfenstein 3D I thought was handled as mature as you could handle that, if you ask me. And a good example of dealing with that topic, in my mind, is what little bit I've seen from Vampire the Masquerade. That game not only deals with the love and sex very maturely, even in its more immature moments, it deals with death and all that in the most mature way possible. Once again, another story. Now, have you yourself thought of any, like, is there maybe a favorite romance in video games? Like, you were like just anime eyes and you were just beaming and you were having that will they or will they not moment with yourself?
Well, to be honest, actually, in Mass Effect 2, Tali was that one.
Aw. Yeah.
I was like, oh, I mean, this girl's genuine. This girl's got, like, the worst situation possible, but she's trying to make the best of it. Like,
I thought that was handled very well.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
It exceeded my expectations on... Yeah. And not to mention how everything... As you said, how the story of not just, like, the loyalty quests or whatever, where involving your father, how that plays into the romance and all that.
Oh, yeah, and you see what happened to her father, and you're like, oh.
And you can just give her a hug, and it's like, everything's okay. Everything's okay, sweet pea.
Yes, that like, I thought the voice acting was horrible at that point, but I thought the whole option to be able to give that hug, I thought was like, that was perfect.
Yeah. I do remember what you're talking about, by the way. The weirdo fluctuation in Shepard's voice at the time.
You're like, here.
I think he did the best job he could have, Mark Meer, all things considering.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough job. Voice acting is hard, especially when you don't have access to the other person that you're supposed to be, genuine to all the time.
Yeah.
It's tough. So, I mean, it is I don't know if they were both there together. I doubt it, but it's definitely something that is hard to do in general. So I don't fault him. It's just one of those prime moments where you need to have, like, the best acting possible.
Yeah.
And he couldn't quite deliver.
He was, in his romance scenes, he was, I honestly felt he was perfect for those scenes, because it was just cheesy enough in that Captain Kirk kind of way, but better than Kirk, in that you could take it more seriously than Kirk's escapades. But yeah, I thought Mark Meer did okay for those scenes, because also you need to believe that the characters are in love, and when you do, like, back to the Final Fantasy, when you do a Final Fantasy game with voice acting,
yes,
like, as bad as the voice acting in 10 was, especially the laughing scene, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, ha ha ha, I quite believed the romance between him and Yuna in that game. That was one of those, right. Like, from the lake scene. It came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, I realize it's been happening this whole time.
Yep.
That's great. When you think it's not going to happen, and then it does, is the best time, I think, to spring it. But there's always more of those ones where it's like back in Thief. We were talking about Thief earlier. I swear they were trying to force a romance between the main character and that.
Oh, at the very beginning, it's totally obvious because you're talking about the.
I'm talking about both. I was leading to talking about both. In the new one, there's this romance trying to happen between him and her, and I thought it was an attempt at least. It just disconnected me from what I know as Garrett, though, because the original Garrett wouldn't have given two rat's butts about romance or anything. He's usually, for him, however you view it, for him, some guy's sister was the reward or something like that.
Right.
Because that's the kind of guy Garrett is. He doesn't care about anybody. He's just after, where's my rent money?
Right, because he was a thief. He's a thief. This is his job.
He stole hearts. He didn't actually steal hearts. Why can't I build... Okay, there we go. I gotta get ready to build a fire. But in the new Thief game, they tried to give him a romance, and I just didn't... In the end, I didn't believe it. At the time, I was like, oh, that's cute. And then I was like, wait, why did this happen again?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if you're going to have romance in there, it kind of needs to be part of the story from the beginning. Like, okay, this character and his wife lose their child, and they are pursuing Fallout 4. That minuscule love story that they tell at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a genuine love story that you really feel connected to.
Yeah,
especially if you're in any form of relationship or have a family of your own. It's like, oh my gosh, and you're stuck in that chamber and you can't move.
Yeah. Oh, that was heart-wrenching. But it also, as genuine of an attempt as they tried to make romanceable companions that you can date, if you can call it that in the Wasteland, after all that, like, oh god, like Piper and all those, it just doesn't compare to that situation of you just lost your freaking wife, dude, and you couldn't do anything. So I applaud them for trying to make romance options, but after that whole wife thing, it was just kind of I want to say a moot point.
You got the fire?
Yeah, I got the fire.
See, now, and that's a perfect situation, because that's an area where you didn't need to have any more love options, because
there's even characters in the game that aren't dateable and they try to hit on you and you're like, I can't, I'm thinking about my wife. Well, then why are you dating what's her name?
You don't need to date, because you don't need to have like the love. I mean, I'm sure some people are like, oh, that was the best thing ever, because now I have a dating relationship simulator for the future. But at the same time, it's like the story of the relationship and the dating and the love triangle, so to speak, was already one and done at the very end. Much like in the Pixar film Up. The love story is told in the first 5 minutes, and of course it's 10 times better than Twilight, but it's told and it's done.
I think you're underestimating the number there, but yeah.
10 times?
You're right.
10,000 times?
You're right. The entire story of Up is him fulfilling his promise that he made with his wife. And that, a posthumous love, no less, spoke more to me than most of the stuff you see in... And that's a movie, let's not forget. That's a movie.
Right.
And
that's off topic for us, but it still conveys something that is there, but you don't need to push it beyond what it was. So Fallout 4, the romance was there, the life was there, the drama was there, and in the first 5 minutes, you know who you are, like definitely, you know who you are, and you know what you need to do. But the next thing on your list is, okay, well, I got to find a new wife. That way I can, take care of my kid. Or be like, you know what? Fine, we'll let him be, and we'll just let's start new. I have some good experience here. That was a failed attempt. We're just going to call that my bad. We're going to move on.
It was hundreds of years ago.
It was hundreds of years. I'm going to call that a mulligan.
I think I've waited long enough.
I've waited long enough. Uh-oh. Red hounds. Should I go pet them?
Oh yeah. Oh, they belong to a master, if I remember correctly. Or is that blue ones?
I see the eye.
Oh, an eye. What? Oh, yeah. No, that is a fire staff.
The staff of witchcraft and wizardry.
Yep.
Look, they're attacking me.
I never did see the Harry Potter movies. Harry Potter ended up in a romance?
Oh yes, definitely.
Of course he did.
Now, and that's something we could debate as well. Was that forced? Was that genuine? Fire staff. What do I do with this?
I think you can light people on fire.
Really?
Yeah. At the very least, you can light greenery on fire.
Oh,
they're fighting the frogs. Oh, nope, Stravanos has gone mental. All right. Well, I'm trying to find an aspect of romance in video games to end on a high or low note, if you will. Did you ever think of one that was, or did you happen to already mention it? One that you were not too thrilled about, maybe even put off by? And let's not talk about Ride to Retribution, that god-awful.
I think I probably just blocked it from my memory and went, oh, that was unneeded. I don't need this in my story.
Yeah, I really can't think of anything else to say about romance. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's not something that needs to be cut out of video games. There's always good time for a romance and all that, I guess.
As long as it's part of the story that is already being told, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. If it's optional, and then it's optional, then why go through it?
Right.
But if it is optional, but it makes the story better, like some of the ones in Mass Effect, then I think, yeah, why not go for it?
Yeah.
And of course, if it's just already part of the story, then it's up to you to decide whether it's genuine or not.
And then it becomes a matter of, is this story a good story? Is this story being told the right one?
Ah, that story.
Oh, that story.
Well, I think this is a good... Well, as we're continually hounded by the Red Hounds. Oh, Chester's taking a beating for us. I think this is a good place to go and end it here. So, without further ado, thank you guys all so much for watching. This has been Cam and Stravanos with both of our giant manly buster swords cutting through the subject of love in video games. And I will see you guys all in, whenever I got another episode. Leave a like, share the video, and subscribe to get added today. And love yourself, because we love you too. Right?
Bye-bye!
Huzzah!